Right, hey guys, here we are, hole 4. Of course, there's no opponents. Makes perfect sense. So as you can see, wind kind of pointed straight into the face. Now what I'd ideally like to do is get over to this left, or from this left over into this right. Not going to be the easiest shot. It's going to require some pretty good curl control, I'd assume. And you may want to just come off of the top spin, or come off of the spin just a little bit and try to focus on perfect ball more so than anything. So you can see I may come off the power. I did keep it pretty close to max spin, but depending on how this plays, and it looks like it is too much, if you come off on that and maybe move it down to like 2 to 3 bars, you should be able to get it to check up a little bit faster, and then you can play it from right here. We can still give ourselves a good chance. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to pitch back to that point, and then you guys can take it upon yourself to back off and say use maybe 1 or 2 top spin, no power, something. And another thing that you could do is kind of take a look at my master guide and see where I wound up with that shot, because that's more or less what I have in mind. And then similarly, I'm probably going to try to play the same type of approach from there. What I don't like about what I just did there, as you can see, trying to go up into that neck, it's just going to bring in the potential for the rough, for the bunker, and it almost kind of takes away an eagle opportunity. Now, I will size it up and just kind of show you. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it's essentially going to make it a birdie hole. It's going to be tough to hole from here. Now, what I would do, if I needed to hole, I'd probably go for a rough bump. So you'd see that I would do something to the effect of this, and I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 1.5-ish per ring. So I'd probably go somewhere in the neighborhood of this to try to hold that. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to lay up here and just basically put it back where I should be. This is going to be short of the neck, and probably the most that I could curl it with that perfect ball shot. I'll just have to ease off that top spin off the tee. What it's going to do is it's going to give me a nice angle. Now, ideally, I would like to go over to where the opponent just did and maybe bring a wind 5 and try to go off this little sliver. But it's going to require kind of a perfect ring execution. But you can see how straight the wind becomes when you do that, which will lead to a more easy hole out. However, I'm especially with the free-to-play balls like the Kingmakers and they're not going to quite have the wind resistance where I feel quite confident enough on that little sliver. Now, typically what I'd like to do is I'd like to keep it back here at min short iron. It's going to be easier min long iron. So you can actually see that I have Goliath on, unfortunately. So I would rather not do this shot with a Goliath. It's not a good club. We're looking at 2.5-ish per ring. It's much tougher to hole shots like this. Every once in a while you'll get a B52 great ball. So I almost never play with this club, especially once it gets B52. Once it gets to a 5, there's no reason to even use this club. It makes no sense, because what happens is especially with great balls, it just becomes a point where you can essentially miss the target so bad that you may actually cause yourself more harm than good. But good luck there, guys, with that hole. Hopefully you guys are able to get it, and I will see you guys on 5 momentarily.